Hello everyone, my name is Jimena Pacheco. I love movies and I love going to movie theaters, which is actually something that we're going to be talking about today in this podcast. I'm pretty sure everyone here has gone to the movie theaters at least once in their life, right? I mean, I know every single person has experienced this feeling, and it's this sort of universal feeling. It's this feeling that we all feel straight after the movie theater, after we watch something. I know that there's a lot of movies coming up, and it's that feeling that after you walk out the movie theater, you just kind of feel magical and you feel like, you're part of the movie in a sense. You just want to talk and talk and talk about it with your friends or with, you know, like anyone you just come across about like, oh, like this movie was so crazy, have you watched this movie? I know I felt that way about Wicked too. Yeah, well, that's the feeling that we're going to be breaking down today, and I just wanted to explain why it's so beautiful and that why movies stay so long within us even after we just throw away all our popcorn and we just like drive off out of the movie theater. Okay, we're gonna first dive into the feeling itself. So let's just start with the vibe and the feeling that is so amazing after you watch any movie in the movie theater. I know we all feel that way about Stranger Things season 5 when you just feel very different and like your thoughts are so loud, the world feels so quiet, and you just want to talk about the movie for the next 5 million gazillion hours. And there's kind of this very inspirational like feeling, and you just feel confused and just you're left with so many emotions all like together. And what's crazy is that people all around the world feel this exact same feeling. So it's not really just you, it's very universal, and it's honestly one of the most beautiful human experiences I've ever felt, and I just feel like it is. So, sticking to the more academic aspect, I did find a source, and it was this very popular psychology article. And although this article is not scholarly, it does explain the emotions very perfectly. And I chose this specific article because it's so relatable. And it's because it's a psychological article. And it touches bases on why we cry at movies specifically, because that's a very strong feeling. So basically, to break down the article, the author talks about how, like, this friend, I know we all have this one friend, he's nonchalant, he doesn't really show emotions, but cries every single time there's an emotional movie. The author explains it as this quote unquote tough guy. It's that one friend that, has kind of no feelings. They cry every single time Mufasa dies in Lion King. I mean, who doesn't realistically? But in a real life argument or a real life scenario, he literally shows no emotion. This is explained using the psychological reasoning behind it, and basically they come to a conclusion that movies feel real but safe. So, what they mean by that is that our brains quite literally enter what they call, quote unquote, this empathic transportation, that is basically just like a way of our brains saying, like, oh, we're inside a story now. This is, fictional. So, we can feel everything 1,000 times because there is no consequences to us feeling that. No, we feel safe. However, when the movie ends, our brain is like, that's it, we're just gonna leave off like that. That's like part of the reason why we feel the way we do when we walk out the movie theater, and we still carry that emotional energy within us. It's still in our body. It basically damn near feels like you're a side character that's recovering from what the heck you just experienced in the movie theater. Okay, moving on to why we talk so much about it and why we literally yap about it. It's all we want to talk about. And it's because when a movie's so life-changing or so like that you love so much, you don't just sit in silence. You want to act on it, you want to talk about it, you want to kind of in a sense relive the moment. You want to know if the person that you're telling this to feels that exact same way, because when they do, there's that very strong connection, and there's just that similarity that we can both, talk about. And honestly, I genuinely feel like it's one of the most purest types of human connections or interactions. It was very important for me to add this source because although it's not peer reviewed, it is very much real life, and it's a real feeling. It's a real person typing this. And it is a Reddit post. I know, you can't trust Reddit. However, in the Reddit post, I feel like it was very necessary to have included this because it just goes to show that one person felt so strongly that they needed to go on social media and talk about this specific movie, and for others to join in too. Like, it takes a lot for you to just go online to go to. In this specific Reddit post, the person is actually talking about how for 5 years that every time they watch like a coming of age film or like a rom-com, they get this intense feeling of emptiness. They watched Stranger Things in middle school and got so depressed. They had compared their life to what was being portrayed on screen. So they really craved that friendship. They craved that adventure, just like the characters in Stranger Things. Meanwhile, in real life, they just felt it was literally the quite opposite. Their life was kind of boring. Like, it's not as fun as the in the movies. The last source is a reaction video that includes a licensed therapist and an actual filmmaker, and it's called Therapist Reacts to Up and Grief. And it's just them, reacting and crying over the movie Up together. It's, very relatable. And they talk about something deeper, and then that's just the way that movies can genuinely help you, process emotions and process grief and healing in a way. And the therapist even shared how the movie Up helped him cope with losing his mom, and it just helped him keep living and looking forward because of the message that the movie holds itself. And, that's literally the thing, that movies aren't just entertainment. They're actually, in a sense, mirroring real life, and they're sort of therapy sessions in a way, because I feel like in every movie there's always, the light at the end of the tunnel. Movies just help us understand our own lives by letting us experience someone else's. So in the end, that universal feeling that we all feel is actually just our brain trying to recover from an emotional journey, in a sense, because the storytelling, the music, the characters, the connection, it's just that moment, that you share with someone when you walk out the movie theater and you just both know that you just experienced something quite literally life changing, and they let us feel so deeply and they let us feel so safe and connected. And I think that is the most beautiful feeling ever. Thank you guys for listening. I really hope that you guys took something from this. I really hope you guys go watch that movie that you've been wanting to watch. Go to the movie theater with a friend. It's a very beautiful experience.